Hello everybody and welcome to Against the Fence. 2023 was an exciting year filled with surprising debuts and rising contenders. But who will break through this year? Each of us have put together our top 5 fighters you should watch out for in 2024. Stay tuned. Kicking things off then, Sai, give me your list. What have we got?
First of all, I went with Diego Lopez. Then I went with Evloev, so Movsar Evloev. Then I did Joe Pyfer and JDM. Then I went for Umar Nurmagomedov as well. So in there, we've got a whole eclectic view of like kickboxers, boxers, wrestlers. But for me, at number 1, Umar Nurmagomedov. I put him at number 1 because I believe he's got like the most potential for rise. And so I think that's what's going to be most significant. But also, I do think he's really going to be causing trouble stylistically in the very top 3 of his division.
Yeah, there have been rumors of him potentially fighting Corey Sandhagen this year. It was on the board in the UFC office behind Dana White during an interview. So if he's able to get that fight, and look, Corey's as game as they come. If he's able to get that fight and beat Corey Sandhagen, then yeah, he could potentially put his name into the hat as a potential future title challenger, that's for sure. Whether or not be happening this year, can't see it, but it's a big rise, and you're probably right, and it's a good solid pick to have. Okay, so Movsar Evloev, how comes you've got Movsar Evloev in there? He's fighting Arnold Allen, and bear in mind you've put Arnold Allen to be champion at the end of the year, so where's your thinking behind that?
Yeah, I know, it's difficult. I literally realized that when I've put these guys in, I feel like he's going to rise quite significantly. I feel like he's going to be causing troubles in the top echelon of the division, and yes, he's going to be fighting Arnold Allen. Whether he gets that fight done, I'm not entirely sure, because like I said, I did go Arnold Allen to win at the end of the year as it become a champion. But I do think he can either be like first or second. And in my opinion, when you're looking at the ones to keep an eye on, it doesn't necessarily that they're going to be champions at the end of the year. It just kind of says that they are going to be doing the most in their divisions. Okay. And I do think Evloev is going to be one of those people who's going to be doing the most, top 3 by the end of the year for sure, knocking on the door.
You had JDM in there, Jack Della Maddalena. Gives you a reason why you've got him in there. So I had him last year. I decided not to have him in this year. I wanted to go for a complete clean slate of new names in my ones to watch this year. But why did he make your top 5?
To be honest, he's just a bit of an unstoppable force, isn't he? Like his toughest challenge, in my opinion, was the likes of Kevin Holland, and that was the last time he stepped out into the octagon. He finished out after a decision, and it went to the end. Absolutely, it was fine, but I do feel like he's got more to show us.
So I believe he's scheduled to fight Gilbert Burns, which is a bit of a jump for him in this division. Do you think he passes the test against Gilbert Burns? It's a very seasoned guy in the welterweight division, former title challenger as well.
No, it is. And it is going to be his toughest test. It will be, because of the wrestling ability to it. But we've seen strikers get a better of Gilbert Burns too many times before. The blueprint on how with Gilbert Burns has been laid out a bit for JDM. Gilbert Burns, it hurts me to say, is a bit of a journeyman. You know, he's a gatekeeper effectively now for the top ends, and he just doesn't like to permit people access usually, but he has been.
All right, nice one. Let's get on to my top 5 then. All
right.
So I've got Khalil Roundtree at 5, 4 Diego Lopez, 3 Tatiana Suarez, 2 Joe Pyfer, and number 1 Benoit Saint-Denis.
Ooh.
Now, I've got Khalil Roundtree in the number 5. I was tempted not to put him in there, but I was kind of swayed last minute because of that win against Anthony Smith.
He looked impressive, didn't he?
He was really impressive.
He did.
Yeah, and because of that, I've chucked it in there to tell you guys, let's look out for him, because now he's off into the division. He's got so many talented guys ahead of him, and I feel like he might be able to turn a new leaf in this year. And maybe surprise us with some of the matchups that he gets and some of the wins that he might get. I think that he will get fights against maybe perhaps Volkan Oezdemir next. I think he can get past Oezdemir, who's another veteran in this division. Then you're looking at people ranked above him, maybe people coming off of losses. So you've got Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker happening this weekend. If Ankalaev wins that, then Johnny Walker might be forced to fight Khalil Roundtree next. Or even the likes of Rakic and Yuri. If Yuri beats Rakic, then Rakic, that'll be 2 losses in a row for him. So maybe Khalil can pick him off later on in the year. So I think it's going to be exciting year for him. The other options that I've got in there, Tatiana Suarez is a bit of a different one compared to the rest because I believe that she can become the champion this year, and she's fighting Amanda Lemos in February, so she's kick-starting the year off with a fight, which is good. 2 guillotine chokes in 2023, 2 wins. Let's see more. Let's get that belt. So that's the reason why I've got her in there. Yeah, she's beat Carla Esparza.
She has.
She's beat a lot of names in this
So
division.
it really would be Lemos and then gold, right?
Basically, that's would be my prediction. Joe Pyfer's in there purely because he's kickstarting the year off very well against Jack Hermansson. They're fighting 10th of February. 2 wins, 2 finishes in 2023 against Jared Mersha and Abdul Razak Al Hassan. So if he gets the win against Hermansson, which I really think he will, then he's on to basically taking over this middleweight division. And I can very much see that, especially if he adds another finish to his resume. After that, you're looking at guys within the top 10, maybe perhaps the Marvin Vettori, Brendan Allen loser. Yeah, I think we got to keep an eye out for Joe Pyfer and some big fights this year.
Do you reckon there's a lot of hype around Joe Pyfer? Is he carrying a lot of buzz?
I think so, yeah. Now, the reason why I've got Benoit Saint-Denis as my number 1 is purely because he's had 3 wins and 3 finishes in 2023, coming off of that head kick knockout against Matt Frivola, and he's an absolute beast. You know, I can't wait to see him get paired up against some of the division's elite in the lightweight. But I think he's going to be really entertaining to watch on home soil because I'd imagine the UFC will come back to Paris and he'll definitely be on the card. So he'll have a home advantage there, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think...
Who do you reckon they'll put him up against in Paris?
Oh, Beneil Dariush all day.
Do you think so?
Yeah. They're going to throw... I think... They're going to really push Benoit Saint-Denis this year, and that's the reason why he's in at the top of my list. Let's move on to Ash's picks.
Oh, yeah, shall we?
Yes, because he's not here with us at the moment due to being ill. So he's created a nice little presentation for us. He's got Diego Lopez in there, I think at number 5, this is meant to be. Then he's got Carlos Ulberg. Then he's got Joel Alvarez. So Carlos Ulberg he had in last year. Joel Alvarez he had in 2 years ago. He's got Ikram Aliskerov at middleweight. That's such an interesting one because I completely went off of my radar when doing this list. And then he's got Bo Nickel at number 1. Let's read out some of the reasons why he's got these guys in his top 5.
First of all, he went with Diego Lopez because he thinks he's very exciting. He thinks he's very well-rounded. He looks to finish a lot of his fights, and we haven't seen the best of him yet. He kind of thinks there's still more to come from this guy. He does think he's going to, A, get into the rankings, and B, I think he thinks that he's going to be in the top 10. I know when I put Diego Lopez in my pick, there was some affirmative factors that really kind of solidified him for me, and it was the fact that he's training Grasso. He's trained the champion of the women's flyweight division, and such forth. That has some weight to it. It means if you can train champions, and you got what it takes to be one yourself.
Definitely
I do
deserves
agree with Ash.
ranked guys.
Yeah,
you know, and seeing his test against Evelev, okay, he fell short, but he put Evelev on blast and gave him a really good fight. And you think, you know, with a full training camp as well. Yeah. Questions what Diego Lopez can do. Now, was he say for Joel Alvarez? Because he's got Joel Alvarez there in at number 3.
Yeah. He had it in last time as well.
He had him in for 2 years ago. So why has he got him in this year?
Well, he says here that he wants his one to watch because he just needs to get more fights in the year. And that was one of the main reasons why he hasn't really moved up as much as he thought he would do previously when Ash put him in. He looks to finish fights in a big, and he is quite big for the division. That's his personal opinion on it as well. And he had a fight booked for March, so just getting an early fight this year, he's pretty happy with that. The real question in my eyes is, or even for you, do you think he would have the opportunity? I mean, he can fight 3 times, but will he have the opportunity to really make some gaps?
I've got a feeling he's going to be fighting at least twice. Had some issues with injuries, or, you know, perhaps 2023 was mostly his year of just kind of fine-tuning a lot of things because, you know, he did suffer that bad loss against Arman Sarukian. But look, Sarukian's no guy to hang your hat on, you know. He's now up there in top 5. So, you know, Joe Alvarez, I think can turn his career around and, you know, maybe impress us this year.
All right. So next up, he had Ikram Aliskerov. Now, you mentioned, of course, this is one that slipped your mind, but you wish you had given another thought to.
Yes, because he's booked to fight Alex Hernandez. I think it's a fun fight, that one.
Yeah.
Both guys are explosive and both guys could potentially move on to do bits in the middleweight division. Ash has got some big calls because he reckons he might be pushing a top 5 guy later on in this year, but I can't really see it.
Yeah.
He's one of these kind of guys which kind of steamroll through people, and yeah, I want to put them in my ones to watch, but I'm also a little bit worried that he's not going to get any fights. That people are going to be turning fights down against him. So he's a solid pick, though, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what he can do.
He thinks he gets past Hernandez's flying colours. And he will be in top 5 for sure by the end of the year. Is his personal opinion on it. Now, where's Hernandez? Now he's at 15. So I think just real quickly in terms of the jumps he'd have to make after fighting Hernandez, in the middleweight division, what do you think his route would look like after Hernandez if it's
after Hernandez, then you're looking at the likes of maybe Paul Craig, who's coming off of a loss. I think Imavov loses against the Leeds, so maybe Imavov could be the next fight.
And then on to the last one Ash put down was Bo Nickel. I actually quite like this one particularly. He's just a problem in the division when it comes to his wrestling. He's yet to be figured out. But also, I really like the fact what Ash has done in a few of these is he just mentioned people that are outside the rankings, because it's always great to get people off the radar, coming through, really calling their name before they even get onto the world's eye of the top 15.
He is going to be fighting Cody Brundage at UFC 300. I think that's a solid fight for him. All eyes are going to be on him in that event, and maybe he can do 2 to 3 fights this year and maybe push towards getting himself in the rankings. But I think it's very slim. So I'm holding off on Bo Nickel for this year. He might be in my ones to watch for next year.
I reckon Paul Craig could be a good introduction into the rankings for Bo Nickel. If he's able to get his job done outside the rankings in superb fashion, there's no reason why he shouldn't come in at number and take on a number 12.
Stylistically, it's a fun fight as well.
Yeah, exactly. But that's Ash's top 5.
That's it.
I think it's pretty decent. I liked a few of those, and it's good to see that the common denominator across all of ours was Diego Lopez.
Yes.
No, he's someone that we've all got a bit quite fond of, obviously.
Honorable mentions,
of course. Really crazy looking at this now is you probably could have even put Khamzat Chimaev in, because he's at number 9. I thought it was a bit higher, to be honest. He could be a one to watch, because he's at number 9, and if he ends up in top 3, that's a point.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I can see what you're on about. It would be wise, and it's probably on your top 5 as well. So don't forget to get in the comment section and let us know who would be in your ones to watch. But yeah, I was hesitant at putting him in there because he was in, I think, maybe my last 2. Was it? No, it was my last in 2021. But he's not been as active, in the last 2 years, and I just can't categorically put him in there. I don't know what sort of year we're going to get with Khamzat. I think the Usman fight was good, entertaining.
It's quite rare to say, but his reason why he's not got a belt at the moment right now is his own fault. He so badly could have. I remember we put him in our picks last year, and we had said if he doesn't, then he's a biggest waste of gas. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just for all of the hype he's been putting out there, all of his ability that he's been mauling people within seconds of a fight. And then it's just like when you get close, you screw it up because you couldn't make weight. And all of a sudden, so much has just spiraled off the back of that. Now you find yourself in another division up and you're back down to 9.
He's definitely one to keep an eye on because, they could rebook the Paulo Costa fight down the line. They could give him someone, big in that division that could set him up for a title fight, whether it be Jared Cannonier, which would be my likely guess.
As Muzakhanov, I think is a superb one to have mentioned. Slipped my mind entirely. To be fair, the guy's on a 13-fight win streak. He's ranked 13 at the moment in the light heavyweight division. Just made mincemeat of Dustin Jacoby in his last outing, and I think he's just got so much more to show us. And I think he can be a problem for the likes of the top 10 for sure. But I reckon he could knock on the door. I think they do need to try him against a gatekeeper for the top 5.
Other names I think we should probably mention is the undefeated Tatsuro Taira in the flyweight division.
Yes.
Or even Tagir Ulanbekov.
Tagir for sure.
Jonathan Martinez in bantamweight. He's 6-fight win streak now, decimated Adrian Yanez's legs in that last fight. So I think he's on to some exciting stuff in this bantamweight division. My prediction for his next fight would be someone like Rob Font, perhaps, who's coming off of a loss against Davidson Figueiredo. In featherweight, Lerone Murphy is going to be fighting Dan Ige. Ian Gary, I think, would be a solid one to have in there. He's booked to fight Jeff Neal in February at UFC 298.
That's right. I was actually tossing back and forth about putting in Gary in. I was going to have him in as my top 5 for a few reasons. You know, he's got that star power, and people want to see this guy fight, whether he wins or whether he loses.
I think people are going to want to see him lose. I think that's the ultimate thing as well.
But fight nonetheless.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing means that he can warrant or demand some of the best platforms. And those best platforms tend to mean high-ranked fighters.
If he beats someone like Jeff Neal, then he's on to maybe perhaps a Wonderboy Thompson or a Colby Covington. Personally, I think Colby would be the ultimate fight to make for him.
Yes.
That gets him in towards the top 5. Does Colby accept it is the ultimate question. But a win against Colby, who's fought for the belt 3 times, I think would be a solid move for him.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's our ones to watch. Make sure you play along and get in the comments section below. Let's hear what you've got to say. Don't forget to hit that notifications bell on our channel as well, because we're going to be back with another watch along. The watch alongs are back. The first one of 2024 is coming your way. And make sure you check out the description of this video as well, because we've got our brand new fight league. So make sure you click the link, download the app, join using the code in the description there, and play along and see if you can beat us week in, week out. Special like on the video, and we'll see you on the next one.
Perfect. Peace out.